Okay, we are live now. I will finish doing a few things. If anybody's there, just write something. I believe I've already opened the chat. Hello. I'm going to say, any of you elusive? When I put Homo sapiens in quotation marks, when I write here, it's because I can't put it in italics, or at least I don't know how. I'm not sure you can when it comes to things like Facebook or YouTube, I think. So that's why I use quotation. But italics is the way to uh, show that you're saying the name of a species. So I'm saying, hello, any of you elusive Homo sapiens out there. And again, there'd be a lot of you if you weren't infected with HsD for the last few thousands of years. So that's why I kind of want to talk about this thing, because I feel alone in a crowd of you Homo communia, the people primates. Okay, I am going to, now you might think this guy is really condescending, but I don't think you realize what it's like for me to live among you. You should give it a try one time, try to see what it feels like being a total outcast based on not wanting to sell your humanity away for the price of belonging to a failed species. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm getting a bit better. Okay, it looks like the microphone title might already be on. Just raise the volume a little bit. So look, yeah, my head will get cold if I don't put a hat. I might take it off once in a while, put it back on. Yeah, I borrowed this, and I think this might be mine. And this is just my promise to dress more presentably. Is that the right word? To see if it'll make a difference with the analytics. Speaking of analytics, I'm looking at the last entry I did live for this question and answer period. And it says, and it's an hour and 22 minutes, I believe. Not this hour is 22 minutes, but I did post an interesting older video of Rick Mercer talking about Pierre Poilievre on my Facebook. I don't know. Pierre Poilievre will probably think that I am attacking him personally and I'm dangerous to him, because when he puts things online that is nonsense, and it's not really me being, patriotic. It's me wanting to fight the most important fight, which is ignorance, right? And how HsD is linked to that as well. So I'll put something to show his contradiction, or to show, that it's obvious he's manipulating people by doing these videos, to get votes, right? But he's also, when politicians manipulate people to get votes by dumbing them down or encouraging ignorance instead of discouraging ignorance. Yeah, and when your proto societies are on all the verge, all of them are on the verge of collapse, it's ridiculous, because you really must suffer from HsD, Pierre Poilievre, to want to become prime minister in your incompetence by making the people even more ignorant that will be turning against you and your family during your, I don't know, we can say regime at this point. So I'm against redneckism, and when they put Harper in jail, when the Conservative Party votes to put Harper in jail for attacking science that would have served you better during COVID times, I'll consider maybe taking you seriously. Yeah. So see this, you've seen the other side of this in a few videos. That's my godfather that passed away. When I went to his celebration of life, I wasn't dressed like others. I don't think I actually looked good, but that didn't matter. But when you arrive, and there was my mother was sister of my uncle and a few other aunts and one other uncle, is they saw me come in, and I showed my mother my socks, which she had given me, kind of reddish kind of socks for Christmas. which were kind of hidden under mostly kind of a whiter clothes. And I looked weird, but I'm used to that. But what people didn't get, even my brother, we don't really talk, and it's because I won't compromise reality. And he was sitting beside me. I welcomed him to come sit beside me. He just went straight for me, and I said, "Oh man, I was so nice to him, and gave him compliments and hugs and kisses, and touched his hand a few times when things were hard. And it was weird that it was hard for him because he wasn't very connected with. But I think just a lot of things touches him about family. But what he didn't realize that, which is okay, that I was wearing what his daughter had discarded, my niece. It was kind of I don't usually wear fur, but it was kind of a vest with fur on it that was also white, which matched clothes that an ex of mine had given me, which was from an Asian country. And there was a few other links, like my father. There was a few other links to clothes that had a theme of family, and nobody picked up on it. Well, I showed the socks, but they didn't realize. My mother took a while to realize that's the socks she had given me for Christmas, the only kind of reddish color, so I can be an individual and show some vibrant colors. But nobody noticed that my clothes wasn't sheepish, conformist kind of clothes, to sell the image of sophistication or we're civilized as a species. It had a theme of family. And ironically, that's what it says for my uncle's celebration of life, famille. So it's kind of weird that you guys are kind of wanting to judge me doing these with my arrogance and my condescending tone, but nobody shows up, right? And you might say, well, advertise it in more places. And it's not about that. When you put it in places where really thousands of people can see it, or your family knows about it, or just Facebook groups that are supposedly linked to things that my videos are about, and they either deny them or they just, nobody sees it. I'd have to almost be naked in the video for people to see it, because that's who you are. And I'm not going to do that. I'll take my shirt off once in a while, but I'm not going to start allowing ads or be naked or practice my songs so long that they're perfect that you guys suddenly, because if I look at my views on my YouTube channel, although my playlist of songs is written very much related to saying that my songs are a way for you to take a break from reality. I know reality is hard. I'm giving you a break, and I'm going to be silly and embarrass myself, and it's fun. But I'm telling you, these are not my important messages. That's the name of my playlist of the songs. But if you look at the percentage of my views related to songs, I don't know how you guys can still believe your own BS about being sentient and sapient. It's pretty weird. So this last video, part 1 of live question and answer period, an hour 22 minutes, I believe, and the average duration, because not just live, but later on people could see it. There's 10 views. The average duration of the views was slightly over 5 minutes. And if you add everybody that viewed it together out of the 10 views, and sometimes I'm in there, sometimes I might not be signed on to my account, and it might count my time if I'm using like a smart TV or something, and I don't feel like signing on. So sometimes it's me watching to see, okay, did I make a mistake? Did I say that, or did I say something different? Because sometimes, the wrong words come out like everybody else. And I want to be clear with my messages, so I review things as well. But I enjoy listening to myself sing, and it's not a mental illness. It's just there's not a lot of new songs I like, and there's actually some Kenny Rogers songs or Elvis songs that I can't find them doing a live version that's better than mine. They've done a lot of songs, and some it's just maybe there is one, but it's not online. I can't easily find it. So it's a lot of music I like, and it's funny. Like I act funny, and then I remember how silly it was when I did this, and how comfortable I am with myself compared to you guys that have to sell an image. It's pretty sad. So selling an image, when a country or a person believes that the image that they sell is at risk, from a few people around them or key people around them starting to doubt the image they sell of themselves, they'll go to war with other nations, like you can see right now, and they'll go to war as family members against each other, and it's just a very common trait of a species that suffers from HSD and that is incredibly disconnected from reality. So I'm really talking to myself now. I'm live, and I've got over 12,000 views on my video, and now I've got, I think, 36 subscribers, but there's 0 people, because it doesn't count me right now. So, should I advertise more for people to bring my stats up a tiny bit more, but really not for long, because they don't really want to hear about reality? It's pretty much it. So I'll follow up. I was supposed to go put a piece of wood in the fireplace, but I'll do that a little bit later. I might do it during this live version. It's not like anybody's going to notice. So I'm going to read the part about that I was missing last time. Like soon after last time, I made this just to kind of remember things. But I wanted to also redo it in a nicer way and maybe turn a few different things into one so it would look cleaner and neater. But I didn't have time. I've been watching the news a lot, and watching this news has been very much keeping me up late, because some of the news that comes because of the time zones often is that, right? Is I want to see it arrive at night from sources that are closer to there, which is often the beginning of their day compared to here. So here there is a delay for certain international news in Canada, and certain provinces you can culturally measure this. They give a damn even less about other provinces or their own nation or international news. You can really measure this, right? The culture is me, myself, and I even more, and I'm speaking more about the French culture here, is and yet they want to blame the Anglophones here for their losing their language, when it's so easy to measure that they lose their language because of their own actions, not the English people. And in fact, the English people are trying to help them, right? They're standing in line, parents, the night before to sign up their kids for French immersion. And often these programs they don't have people whose first language is French. It's very poor quality, and they pay big bucks. So in a way, not only are Quebecers intellectually lazy in a way that I've measured and proven this, and I have evidence at high levels, like government levels, that they are the ones who are allowing their language to die, but they actually, I've never heard anybody say, thank you, English speaking Canadians who sign up their kids for French immersion at high costs with crappy efforts. One of the things I'm considering right now is I'm delayed in actually filing delivering a letter of intent to a school board that hired me locally months ago and still hasn't paid me a cent to teach a couple hours of English a week. Okay, and they want me to sign a contract where they make me feel like I'm lucky to get the title of teacher, although there's very few people there that I would want to kind of be on the same level with that call themselves teachers, because I'm a learning professional and I take the concept of education very seriously. But I think the fact that my degrees are not the education bachelor's, although I'll prove myself better than them at any time, is they also, I think, in Quebec cultures, they actually see somebody that's teaching English as, slightly above the janitor. And I'm not saying anything bad against the janitor, because he was pretty nice there, and he seemed to have a better attitude of being a learner than the staff that are educators there or administrators. So, but and maybe if they can identify more with the janitor, like maybe the same hockey team, then they'll put the English teacher guy where French is my first language, but I've mastered it more than a lot of English people in Canada that speak only English. It's pretty pathetic. So I haven't had time to deliver this mise en demeure letter of intent yet, because I've prioritized other things. Now, this letter of intent against the school board here that has significantly impacted my ability to buy solar panels for my 1989 used bus motorhome that is still needing so much work, it is just not going to happen. Now, this is related to me. I should advocate for myself, but it's very much also cultural repair, and it's related to the children that I saw had adults failing them like they did when I was there as a child at that same school board. And I have stories as a child, and it's not about revenge or punishment. Although my story exists, it's true. Of course, it's sad for me to see it hasn't gotten better. But the thing is I'm inside the culture of educators now, and I'm being abused as an educator by not agreeing with the incompetence of the norm. Anyways, I'm late doing this paperwork because for me right now, I've been staying up late watching the news about potential World War III. And also, it's making me get up later in the morning. So it's been changing my routine. So I have to start getting to bed earlier and getting up earlier. So I didn't prepare a lot for this, but I didn't expect people, and it's still 0 right now. So I'm going to still deliver this, and I'm still going to do part 3, and I'm still wearing ridiculous clothes because I made promises to you, because I care. I care about the kids that I worked with. I care about future generations, which is really one of the key, if not the most important key aspect of sustainability. And at this point, you guys don't want to hear that it's mostly about mitigation, right? All of your proto-societies are most undoubtedly going to crash. And so right now, you have to admit this and start caring about your kids and work on projects like shutting down and disposing of nuclear waste and nuclear power plants efficiently as your populations decrease, as your social and political and economic conflicts increase. You do not want the risk of accidents that you want to say, oh, there's nothing we could have done. You've always had scientists or people more connected to reality that have told people in charge, this scenario, the doomsday clock, whatever definition you want to use, whether you want to include climate emergencies in there or the devolving of your brain, which I seem to be the only one talking about, and nuclear related incidents, which could happen so easily in so many ways with this Ukraine and Russia incident. So a few years ago, I'm walking and I'm saying what I believe are the predictions, by the way, are probabilities. So I said within the next 20 years, I believe the probability of a nuclear event or 2 happening was at this percentage, which is extremely high. And I wouldn't be the only one saying this. There'd be experts saying this. But the fact that you're still kind of wanting to, defend images instead of defend your humanity by doing the right thing with Ukraine and Russia is defend your ability to be consumers as much as possible without having to pay a cent more for something, instead of defending your own sentience and sapience potential as a species. It's pretty pathetic to see. So still 0 people. I'm going to read the French questions that I hadn't finished last time. So number 1 was, est-ce que vous pourriez me donner plus de précision sur votre théorie? C'est ça que je fais. Selon vous, est-ce que votre théorie projette une vision optimiste pour la sauvegarde de l'humanité ou bien nous sommes condamnés à un avenir tragique et malheureux? Si la personne cherchait pour le positif ou le négatif, ben, scientifiquement, c'est le négatif qui s'en vient plus. Mais une question comme ça, là, qui a vraiment 2 lignes, là, j'aimerais ça avoir un groupe de gens là, qui se présenteraient pour 1 heure, puis on ferait, je serais sur le stage, puis on ferait question and answer. Parce qu'une question comme ça, là, il y a plein de pensées puis d'émotions qui peuvent en sortir qui serait encore pas basé sur la réalité, sans que vraiment ça dure à peu près 1 heure, là, une conversation honnête sur ça. Je vais vous donner des exemples. Selon vous, est-ce que votre théorie projette une vision optimale? Bien là, je pourrais, disons, passer la première demi-heure pour expliquer comment que ma théorie pointe à ça. Après ça, ben, tu sais, il faudrait qu'on tombe encore à sauvegarder l'humanité. Bien là, tu sais, il faudrait définir l'humanité. C'est quoi les parties qui sont bonnes ou pas bonnes? Puis ceux qui ne sont pas bonnes, c'est vraiment ça de l'humanité? Comment on définit ça? Sommes-nous condamnés? Bien là, sommes-nous? De qui qu'on parle? Parce que quand des gens disent ça, ils ne sont pas vraiment capables d'avoir le sentience to reference the outside world. Ça veut dire de penser à leurs enfants, leurs petits-enfants, puis ceux des autres, puis d'autres espèces, puis des futures générations. Les gens ne sont pas programmés à penser comme ça. Ils sont programmés de plus en plus sur le spectrum de ego, pas eco. Ça veut dire plus me, myself and I, selfish, self-serving. Ben ça, là, vraiment, tu sais, je serais devant une foule de 100 personnes, là. Il y a plein de monde là, qui ne serait pas capable de penser à personne d'autre qu'eux autres mêmes, ou peut-être les membres de leur famille préférée, peut-être. Tu sais, mais pas vraiment, tu sais, le cousin de leur voisin qui aime bien, là, tu sais, ça serait trop. Fait que, tu sais, sommes-nous condamnés? Ben, tu sais, même si je vous réponds, je peux vous dire que vous êtes condamné parce que vous n'êtes pas capable de penser aux autres tant que ça. C'est une des raisons. Et à un avenir tragique et malheureux. Bien là, avenir, ça veut dire encore, on parle de votre espèce ou de votre famille ou de vous autres même ou de votre image de ce qui est tragique ou malheureux. Parce qu'à long terme, là, c'est bon là, qu'il y ait moins de peuples primates sur la planète. Parce que les preuves de notre passé à notre espèce sur la planète, c'est qu'on n'est pas bon pour la planète. On n'est vraiment pas bon. Ça veut dire, si on aime le concept de la vie, si on pense que ce soit l'évolution ou un Dieu qui a créé un paradis de planète, bien, tu sais, si on l'aime, cette planète-là, là, puis en disant ça, le paradis de la planète, c'est nous autres. Mais si on l'aime comme il faut, avec, disons, la quatrième amour que j'aimerais parler dans mon cours de Ecocentric Worldviews, c'est l'amour du concept de la vie dont on fait partie un système qu'on a vraiment l'habilité de comprendre et d'avoir un impact, puis de aussi décider si on veut avoir un effet positif ou négatif sur le système, mais c'est limité à notre planète. Le reste, c'est de la science-fiction, même, c'est même pas fringe science, c'est tellement pas possible là, si on pense plus loin que ça. C'est vraiment pas scientifique de voir la vie plus que le concept de notre biosphère. Puis c'est nous autres, on peut contrôler nos actions. Puis nos actions, là, ça n'a vraiment pas été bon à la vie sur la planète. Fait que si nos chiffres baissent, c'est correct. Mais si nos chiffres baissent sans notre contrôle, puis HsD nous empêche d'avoir ça, parce qu'on va dire ça c'est un méchant, ça c'est un méchant, ça c'est un méchant parce qu'il veut. Hey, je vois des gens intelligents là, qui s'inquiètent que notre population va crasher ou qu'elle n'est pas assez haute quand il y a des milliards de nous autres sur la planète. C'est nono, là, les scientifiques sont vraiment pas capables de penser à la biosphère. Là. C'est tellement nono qu'est-ce qu'ils disent. Même si d'une conversation, ils vont admettre que nos comportements sont horribles pour la planète, dans l'autre conversation, ouais, il y en a bien déjà, mais ils pourraient en avoir plus. Ils ne comprennent pas cette santé mentale-là. S'il y en a plus, là, ça ne sera pas des peuples primaires de plus de qualité. Là. Et si vous voulez vous multiplier pour le hasard d'avoir un individu de temps en temps de qualité, ben, il y a quelque chose de pas correct ici. Je ne sais pas si c'est le Messiah complexe. Que si vous pourriez juste vous rendre à 12 milliards, ben, il y a un autre petit bébé Jésus qui va vous sauver, qui va être né. Je ne sais pas c'est quoi votre logique, mais c'est vraiment pas connecté à la réalité, puis les faits scientifiques sont mesurables de votre espèce. La troisième question, c'est étant donné que l'être humain est le seul être qui possède les facultés suivantes. Bon, puis là, la personne a décrit sa définition d'intelligence, de volonté, de liberté. Puis là, tu sais, il faudrait que je révise si je suis d'accord ou pas d'accord. Puis c'est la façon que, tu sais, on devrait faire une entente que tout le monde se servira de ce mot-là, de cette façon-là, d'accepter la définition ou pas. Là, il y a un 3.2, mais je voulais parler du 3.1 la dernière fois parce que j'ai trouvé que 3.1 avait quand même bien répondu. Mais là, je vais juste lire 3.2 avant. Okay? I'll come back to English fairly soon. Mais étant donné que l'humain possède le pouvoir de faire le bien et le mal, ce qui en fait un être limité, qu'il n'est pas tout-puissant. Ça, tu vois qu'il y a des pensées religieuses un petit peu dans ces expressions-là. Est-il possible qu'il arrive à surmonter et à éradiquer phénomène de domestication simplement par son intelligence, sa volonté, sa liberté? Puis là, ben, tu sais, moi, je ne me rendrais même pas à répondre quelque chose comme ça sans avoir révisé les définitions, voir comment la personne voit ça, ces définitions-là, puis comment elle peut démontrer des exemples. Puis si je dirais, moi, je dirais que c'est un petit peu comme ça la réalité, puis ça, c'est mes exemples. Il faudrait, avant d'aborder 3.2, mais je vais aller 3.1. Est-ce que le phénomène de domestication humaine que vous présentez est un processus qui se fait à l'insu tous les humains en ce sens qu'ils ne s'aperçoivent pas totalement de ce conditionnement où finalement on pourrait conclure que la domestication l'emporte sur l'intelligence, la volonté, qui sont les attributs qui confèrent à l'être humain une valeur presque infinie. OK, fait qu'on va dire là, qu'on avait au début accepté tout ensemble dans une discussion les trois concepts, intelligence, volonté, liberté, philosophiquement, puis leur définition, puis qu'on avait conclu que notre espèce était toute pas mal en majorité capable de ces comportements-là par choix. Bon, mais là, sa question, c'est est-ce que la domestication nous empêche le pouvoir de se servir de ces trois choses-là? Ben oui. Ben oui, c'est de ça que je parle tout le temps. On n'a plus l'habilité de se servir des fonctions plus élevées de notre cerveau. Ça veut dire qu'on réagit comme, si vous voulez voir ça sur des jeux vidéo, là, ben on réagit comme Atari, comme Pac-Man, le primitif. On joue des jeux vidéo, puis on crée des jeux vidéo complexes, mais ça, c'est les jeux vidéo. Nous autres, dans notre vie, là, quand la personne elle commence à avoir mal au dos, elle est assise ou assise, il faut qu'elle appelle quelqu'un, sans ça, elle va peut-être perdre une amitié ou une relation ou une connexion de famille, puis un poignet dans le jeu vidéo, même s'il est fantastique à comparer Pac-Man ou Atari des années 80, ce cerveau-là ne fera pas le bon choix. Il va avoir des addictions, il va avoir des manques d'habilité de prendre le pouvoir de gérer sa propre vie. Puis là, je ne parle pas juste des addictions, là, il y a des gens là, qui sont moins susceptibles à des addictions, mais ils font quand même des mauvais choix, puis des preuves sont là, puis vous le voyez encore aujourd'hui, là, comme avec le peuple de l'Ukraine qui décide de croire que ça va se régler, puis là, tout d'un coup, ils manquent d'options pour sauver leurs propres enfants après que ça s'est passé. Ben, c'est ça, là, l'habileté des cerveaux. Le potentiel, il est là. C'est comme un hardware complexe, puis il y avait du bon software où il commençait à en avoir il y a des milliers d'années, puis là, quand les concepts diversifiés de domestication que tout le monde fait, vous pouvez aller en Afrique, là, des pays où, disons, les petites filles, ils se font ôter leur clitoris, puis c'est horrible. Puis il y en a qui vont dire, ben, c'est leur culture. Non, c'est horrible. Tout le monde devrait aller en prison pour faire ça. C'est vraiment horrible. Ben, ces petites filles-là, ils grandissent dans ces cultures-là, ils se font domestiquer, puis ils deviennent les mères, puis les matantes, puis les grands-mères qui guident d'autres petites filles à se faire ça, puis les préparer pour ça. Ben ça, là, c'est du HsD là, qui fait ça. Puis vous dites, oh, ça, c'est là-bas. Je peux vous donner des exemples de toutes vos estiques de culture que cette maladie mentale-là. Vous pensez toutes du ethnocentrisme, que vous êtes toutes fameux, mais de l'ignorance de même, là, où ce que vraiment, là, votre cerveau, à ça, il pourrait être gros de même, puis il n'y aura pas de différence dans vos vies. Vous en avez vraiment plus que vous en servez, puis il pourrait juste être conglomerate, une petite affaire de rien. C'est à peu près la grosseur de vos chiens, puis vous vivriez la même vie, là, les choix que vous faites, puis les décisions de vie, puis vos styles de vie seraient pareils. Okay, I will come back to English. I will sign out of this, and then maybe review my list. If nobody's on, I might actually go put wood in the fireplace, which would take me like a minute. I feel bad to leave my 0 students for a minute. Okay, but I'll do it. It's been about 30 minutes. So I'll come back. I hope. Should I write a note back in 1 minute in case somebody signs on? I don't know. I don't think it makes a difference. I think you guys are, whoo, you're gone. You're gone. Doesn't make a difference. All right. Hey, not even a minute. Did anybody show up? No. Nobody's showing up to the reality of their own lives. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so guys, I admit my tone right now is not fun to participate in, but nobody's here to participate with me. And the tone is appropriate to what I'm experiencing living among you and wanting to be a helper of what I know and realize are serious problems with your mind's functioning. So, do you know that if, let's say, I'm hired to teach a life skills course for like 5 hours, that I'll arrive prepared, that if there are the right number of participants and they want to be there, it'll be a wonderful experience for everyone. And I've proven this in the past. I've got plenty of references. Even this class that I was teaching English, the first grade kids mostly, is I would invite teachers come in. If I see the principal, oh, okay, come in, yeah. But no, he just came to see if I'm wearing a hat or not wearing a hat or something ridiculous like that. So I do a good job, and my students are happy, and especially if they want to be there. So my tone is very different, right? There's a cause and effect. There's a collaboration. There's a participation. There's a joy of sharing the wisdom of life experience together. But here, nobody's showing up. That's the tone you get. If somebody was there, and you've seen videos on my YouTube that are non-confrontational because it's agreements of people to say, okay, we're going to talk about this, we're going to do it in this format, this structure, and it happens. And being a life skills coach, by the way, is having to deal with a lot of people's triggers. And the mental health and counseling training I have is if somebody wants to be there and their triggers come up, I'm a good candidate to be giving a course where triggers come up. But now I'm by myself and I'm like, wow, this is the tone of my triggers, is I keep trying, and I'm going to keep trying. I have no choice. Sentience and sapience is saying that I have to keep cataloging my work or my life among you and putting it out there that it's at least proof of my brain's resilience, right? Because I can go nuts. I can be talking about the bitterness of my past relationships or employment. I could be getting into and I was there at one point when I started kind of curing myself of HSD. But now you can tell I'm like, if you guys want to be bullying me, you're going to see I don't make a good victim. And if you guys want to collaborate with me, you're going to see you can get a lot out of it. It's up to you. Like, I'm not the only person making decisions that affects how you feel in an interaction with me. That's what maturity is. That's what growing up is. When I was in Vietnam, they told me one of their classes that was the best English. Oof, that was pretty rough. It was really hard to kind of measure what their English levels really were because the kids didn't want to answer. They were like hiding what level they were at. So the dishonesty in Vietnam was incredible. And again, I'm going back in past wars where, white people or French people, it's not everybody, but it's a big majority of foreigners were treated suspiciously or don't trust that person, or they have ulterior motives or whatever. They'll use us, and I think they might even have a way to say, okay, this foreigner didn't make a good domesticate as a teacher, so we don't recommend you hire. I think they might be one of the only countries that do this. I think they do this. I'd have to dig up to see if it's really true, but you have to have good connections to find out if this is true. So one class, I wanted to do a debate because they're supposedly really good in English. And I did promise not to post a lot of the videos. I only posted one where you see my face. But how pathetic it was that parents brainwash their own kids to fail at learning and yet claim to have a passion and try to get people to come help. But really, it's all about moving money around and applying for funding. Same thing in South Korea. It was all a scam to apply for funding through my identity. And when I didn't make a good domesticates, what I wanted to work on was exactly what my documents sent them. This is me. I don't compromise. This is really what I believe is important to do if I go there. And I act exactly as I said I would, and I didn't make a good victim in their manipulation scheme to use my identity to apply for more funding. And they think this has anything to do with education. Anyways, when I was doing this class in Vietnam, there was supposed to be a debate. It was a multiple class thing to prepare for it. Is it really turned into a life skills lesson to observe each other's non-verbal behaviors to sabotage the learning experience, including in their own teams. So again, it falls back to basic life skills, which aren't even defined properly. Marketplace, a Canadian TV show, had a bit of news about life skills coaches not being a regulated industry. And I'm not, apologies, I have to make a correction. Life coaches, not life skills coaches. So again, when I talk about I'm a life skills coach, but I also say I can't use that term anymore because it's been hijacked, even by John Tesh, who's sending the wrong definitions of what it is. I'm a life skills coach. So I had to start using the word Humanix. It's one of the words I use the word. One of the reasons I've called myself Dr. Humanix and used the word Humanix is life skills coach, which is something I would have been very proud of, the Saskatchewan New Start model, and how I've also built on it, along with the lady that trained me that had built on it. And this is very different than life coaching. Life coaching is, well, if there's a type of coaching that would have more scam people in it, I would say be that type. But and if you're not happy with that, just contact me, and for the first thing I'll do is I'll explain to you. I don't know you. I wasn't talking about you personally. I was just discussing something that I've researched, and I'm telling you, generally speaking, compared to what I haven't even finished saying right now, is I believe that's probably one of the scammier ones. Okay, but life skills coaching, there's a lot of fake life skills coaches that can't do the job. But there's also essential skills, soft skills, which I would put in the same category. And then there's living skills. Okay, and living skills is really elementary school stuff or people with disabilities. But often the people with disabilities excel at their instructors of life skills in something else, but yet they'll be treated as if they don't excel at anything. And that's sad. So I can't work in that field. I can't even work in life skills anymore because people don't define it properly. And they're intimidated because I'm good at it. And then soft skills or essential skills is often about brainwashing worker bees in a way that, again, is related to domestication. I can't do this to human beings with these brains. So the only thing left is life skills coach, which I'm trained in, in over 250 hours in this course that wasn't theory as much as it was practical and personal development work related. Very proud. Again, this was 2 months full time. And I will tell you that it's worth more que mon diplôme d'études collégiales, which is like a 2-year thing, worth more than my bachelor's at the University of Ottawa, and worth more than my diplôme de maîtrise at Vancouver Island University. This course, life skills coach. It's really, if I do well in school with students, it's more related to that. Or if I do well working in mental health, more related to that diploma than all the psychology or mental health courses I took of people that are domesticate themselves and that talk about somebody that acts differently. And we don't want to evaluate whether it's good or wrong. If they act differently, there's something wrong with that. That's pretty much it. So we're at 40 minutes of just me talking to myself. And you can say this is a mental illness I have if you want, but it's not like I didn't tell people about this or didn't invite them. Right? So you can put it all on me if you want. Let's see what we got here. I was going to define some words. Not going to do it. Not going to do it because you don't care about using language efficiently compared to many other species. Let me know when you are. I did number 2. Réponse 3.1. I could look at YouTube videos with you guys here and show you a critical thinking person analyzing them. But I could save that for other themes of other life things I'm going to do where something pops up. It's just like a few minutes new and okay, he hasn't seen this one. By the way, I haven't really watched updates about the news this morning yet. New questions? No, I checked quickly if there was any by email and I didn't get any new ones. Yeah, I was going to define the word schemas more. It's a psychological term, and it's related to how we compartmentalize information and make sense of it based on past experiences and other schemas that build on others to create, a better understanding of more complex ideas, let's say. That could be a quick definition, but I want to address that more at a later time. Part 3 includes the proof of your predictable HSD related behaviors. Yeah, so nobody showed up today. So I'm going to be pissed off that in the next week, I'm going to prepare examples of your HSD. And it could be somebody who thinks, hey, I didn't give them permission to say my name or share this information. And my response is, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn because it's not about you. It's about the greater good. It's about the sense of community. It's about fighting a cultural illness. It's not personal. If you want to take it personal, bring it on. You're just going to raise my voice to talk about in a public forum HSD, which is your illness, which is making me suffer from species alienation because you don't want to even talk about it. Nobody's showing up still. So bring it on. So if I say the name of the director of a school, it's because I can show the evidence that the person really acted like this. I'm not making it up. And if I seem personal about it, it's because I'm human. I said, well, that's your choice and that's your choice. Are you sure you want to make that choice? And he made that choice. I didn't take the choice away from him. He made the choice. He's supposedly a grown-up. He's in charge of a school. If you don't want accountability to go his way, then you are pro-impunity. It's the opposite of accountability. I'm not like that. Okay, so I had made a diagram, which I'm going to not give a damn to help you. I don't give a damn to help you today. I'd rather be walking outside. If nobody shows up for me to help them, you get what you deserve, right? The orange parts and the pink parts have the same number. So as I was going to redo this, I could, find some links between them. But I was brainstorming with myself because I have no peers. And I was kind of coming up with these things. You can probably see them and pause and zoom in on it. But next time I'll do something better. And at some point, even after part 3 is over next week, where possibly nobody shows up again, although I will make a new effort to connect with people. I don't know what new groups I could try to join on Facebook. And I'm not going to go on every freaking social media platform because it's still you on it. It's still the 99.7% of you that suffer from this and that don't want to know because it requires work to get over it. Work. The illusion of work is so much more fun than doing the actual work. So I'm not going over an hour today. I'm talking to myself. But these things are, how about I talk about some of the, because I put HSD in the middle, let's call it the phenomenon that, again, is a variety of things that fall under the greater concept of human domestication syndromes. So let's start with the top one. And I wrote this like 6 days ago, so I'll remember as I read it. Egocentrism. So HSD leads to more of this. Now, of course, this also led to HSD. It goes both ways. But the more your HSD grows through a lot of other things, these are just some examples. So if you already have a tendency to be egocentric, and sometimes there are personality disorders. There are types of mental illness that you may be prone to genetically to be like this. And of course, if you have a failing medical system that also won't even acknowledge HSD and suffer from it themselves, then it won't help you get away from egocentrism, right? Like the universe revolves around you. Every event that happens is linked to you in some way. Oh, wow. And when you become like this, you start thinking and acting unconsciously that you control everything in your life or everyone or everything, because you kind of think there's a link between you and the universe or what's happening on the planet or in your everywhere in your city or whatever, right? Egocentrism is like everything is about you. So plus, there might be somebody being born that didn't get genetically a mental illness that makes them more prone to this. But if they're in a society where HSD is spread so much and more people are like this, or their parents are like this, or if they're stuck, let's say, with a babysitter for years that's like this because their parents have other things more important to do than raise their own kids, then yes, it'll get worse. So mimetically, so observed role modeling behavior. And it's not like people think, I think I have to become more egocentric to blend in with the norm and have more jobs. No. The norm is not always a choice. The norm is it's a normalizing thing. It just makes it okay to lower human standards every freaking year or generation like this. So it feeds, it goes both ways. So this is one of the things I'm saying is growing, but it also makes this grow. Brains in difficulty. And I can tell you that one of the reasons that I filed a court case about a year and a half ago, and that I still haven't been given a date, it's because I'm going to be confronting in court in front of a judge where I'm going to invite a lot of journalists for psychiatrists to prove their competence. They're probably freaking out for a year and a half because of this, if they even hear about it, because their system is so, non-transparent. But when they do and they realize Martin's going to be getting me to prove that I deserve my job, that I'm good at what I do, that is freaking them out. That would be freaking them out. But also all of society identifies with them. Nobody wants their image challenged. And some people think, oh no, there'd be a breakdown of society. Well, first of all, there's already a breakdown of society, and it's those exact behaviors you're choosing that have caused it. So brains in difficulty. It's easy for me, and I've noticed this working with people that work in counseling. I've noticed that they come to me for counseling, and I'm sure that a psychiatrist that I would question, I want to say interrogate because it'll be confrontational, in court in front of a judge, and I won't hold back. And there's many reasons I won't hold back. And it doesn't mean that I'm cruel. It means that you are at a stage of your crashing proto-society where holding back is no longer an option because there's going to be way too many victims. Just the fact that there's a year and a half that have passed where people in mental health distress are being harmed even more by incompetence in mental health is an example. It grows, it feeds. It's a crashing system. Brains in difficulty, super easy for me. You might say, well, that's a great police officer, or that's a great doctor in this way. And again, this may or may not be true for certain aspects, but that brain is still in difficulty in other things that I can point out. I just need to interview that person and learn a little bit about that. And nobody wants me to do this because it breaks your image. Then somebody else thinks that they have to defend their image because they'll be next where their image will be challenged. And it has nothing to do with cultural repair. It has everything to do with the illusion that there's nothing to repair, right? You're all culture breakers in this way. Growing redneckism. Yes, it's going to grow because of HSD, and it's going to feed HSD. Patterns of escape. There'll be more and more, the grass is greener on the other side, people wanting to move to another city or province or country, and HSD is everywhere. It's a species-wide disease. It's been spreading for thousands of years. It's everywhere, and the media, internet, didn't get used to counteract it. It got used to make it worse. And I'm not saying it's conscious. It's not conscious. People are doing harmful things to each other, like misinformation, on purpose a lot of the time, or to defend an image where they even suddenly becomes a belief as they say this misinformation for the first time, even for them. HSD makes it like that. They don't have the ability or the desire, the motivation to find out if what they're saying is accurate and harmful to them, their own lives, their own kids, their own societies. They don't even do that anymore. Patterns of escape can also be related to religions or groups, conspiracy theorists or people with guns or whatever, people that you believe are like you or think like you or know how to fix things that you know is wrong, but nobody's having the real conversation. So you don't know how it's wrong and how to fix it and what the reality of it really is. You'll all kind of get together. But even in these groups of people with guns or people with churches, people that are disconnect from reality and don't realize that they are as much the problem as what they're observing in others, not even objectively, anyways. So, yeah, it's pretty sad. And these people are not going to have conversations to even realize how they interpret themselves or what is wrong in totally different ways. It's really, it's really not congruent. I'm going to do more of this later. I'm like at 51 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I'll write a question myself. One question people would have, and again, let's say I get like 18 more questions, let's say, and let's say I analyze 20. There'd be a common pattern in this 20 that would be related to people want hope. So that's kind of what I have to talk about. Hope is not possible through belief in religious entities, right? In godlike entities. It's not possible with buying a lottery ticket, with saying a prayer, with hoping your kids will become so smart in failed education systems that won't make them connected to reality more to solve the problems. But it's also a cruel thing to do for adults to say, solve our problems here, kids. We brought you into the world for that. And after you solve them, which you won't, you have to take care of us because we'll be invalids. Well, you probably already were when you had the kid. So that's not where the hope is. The hope is for somebody to show up and to participate and to ask questions and to say, I want more mentorship and guidance from this, Martin. And by the way, I will benefit from this as well because it'll help me get better too. And I don't mean money. I won't charge the person money because that makes me the opposite of who I claim to be. I claim to be a helper with things that I consider to be incredibly important for the very concept of life on this planet. You guys can just see it for your species if you want, if you can even think that much, which means people from other countries with different views, different ideas, people that wouldn't even like you, right? It still means that if you just want to consider your species, you have to consider them, right? But for me, ecocentric worldview, right? So if I met somebody like this, it would make me better at what I do. It would make my mind even more resilient. It would make me feel less alone. It would change my tone, but it would also help that person. But also for me, I'm a social creature. I have social needs. To feel alone in my own family or in my own workplace or wherever else I might go when I'm there just to help sometimes and volunteer or play badminton and they want to charge me fees that are some of the most and nobody gives a damn to try to get to know me. Sometimes don't even include me in the games. And then having to drive there. I drive there this week. And I don't go below the speed limit if the conditions aren't really needing me to. So I'm maximizing the speed limit. And the whole time this guy follows me too close, I look at him. He knows I'm looking at him in the mirror. I don't lose it. I would have lost it before, right? I'd be very angry. But I have to let it go, right? They suffer from, right? But when I get on the merge on the highway where there'll be a second lane, this person accelerates, stays beside me in the lane while I'm accelerating on the merge, turns around and gives me the finger like this. Oh crap, you can see the finger in the video. Okay, and this is you. This is your norm here. This is who raises kids and works in your whatever. Okay, and then I am running out of a merging lane, and I take down the license plate, and I make a mental note of the time and the route, and if I want to go to a police station, I would report this, and what they would have to do is go visit. And of course, when I report this, I say I will testify in court. Do you know police officers don't want to do their work? And this guy would be like, "What the fuck? Why? What's wrong with you? You were just going too slow." I wasn't going too slow. I don't know if you can read the numbers on the signs, but that's the maximum speed limit. And you can't attack me if you're not happy with the. I don't mind a lot of places you raise the speed limit, people, but some places you should not because you don't have the skill sets for higher speeds in certain roads. I've done many vlogs about this. I don't even want to talk about defensive driving anymore. It's not something that you guys want to even understand. And I've also done vlogs where if I drive defensively, I'm more at risk because of your norm suffering from HSD. So if the truckers are fighting for my freedom, where I want to not break the rules of the road, but still not freak out when you guys all do it around me, but you do it in a way that risks my life. Hello, how is my freedom being defended with that? I don't want to be like you, that I don't want to go over the speed limit because I learned in elementary school how to keep track of time and make my appointments and not live a fast-paced quantity life with no quality in it. I'm an Homo sapien. I want to use the potential of my brain. If you guys gave up on me. But this guy, if the police goes to talk to him, I have to convince the police, to even do their job. They think it's weird. I told you I have an audio recording of a Sûreté du Québec sergeant that you can tell in the voicemail he leaves on my cell phone back then. It's like he's really surprised that I expected him to do his job, and he told me what he did. So in a way, he was working for me because he's never met somebody that was human, that's assertive, that expects him to do a job that seems competent, like he can't put me in my place because he knows he's got a feeling it's not going to go well. So he leaves me this voicemail. He's a freaking sergeant. Where, yeah, he talked to the owner of the truck company and the driver of that truck, which was extremely dangerous, what was done on the highway. I think maybe he should ask me, why did you not go beat up that guy? Because that's what a typical people primate would do. So I wouldn't have to do my job unless, they call me or whatever. And that's not what I do. I'm an Homo sapien. But the thing is I would have freaked out but it's the norm. It's the norm. People primates act like this here. It's ridiculous. So should I give a complaint against this driver? I mean, if he has kids, and they're in his car and he drives the way he did, because he was way too close to me. So here's the freedom part I wanted to explain. When somebody drives too close, when I'm already at the maximum speed limit, when I want to enjoy the drive and look at the scenery, and not without going below the speed limit, because if I'm not following somebody, if I'm not a tailgater, I'm observing things far away when I can, not before a tight curve where I can't see what's ahead, but at other times, if I want to enjoy a beautiful field and look at the animals or the snow or whatever, it's my right and it's my choice because I don't tailgate anybody and I've done a good scan and there's no deer coming out of anywhere. I can turn my head, but I don't have that freedom because, if somebody follows me that close and there is a deer that comes out, if I slow down and I see the deer and they won't see the deer, they'll be just looking at how close they're getting to me they don't know I'm slowing down for a deer. My options are gone. I lost my freedom. Because now I don't want to hit this deer, and it could even be like a little dog, okay, where it's a dog at a size where there would be no damage to my vehicle if he doesn't hit me and I run over the dog. I still want to have the choice not to run over a dog. I don't have it here. So who's fighting for my freedom to not kill your dogs on the road? It's ridiculous. Oh crap, almost at an hour. So again, when the truckers who risk my life all through Canada many times riding motorcycles or a smart car, where I've showed videos on Facebook, I get out of my smart car. This guy's got a tractor trailer and another trailer. Why would you follow a smart car that close? There's nobody else on the road. Just stay back, and I'm not going to prevent you from passing when you get a chance to pass. But again, they're getting away with breaking the laws. My research showed that the OPP were being told by the Ministry of Transportation, because of economics, to not give tickets. And while the supervisor of the construction zone said, I can't call the police, they won't do anything. My supervisor says, don't bring the speed limit lower than this, and it's too fast and it's too dangerous for my workers in construction zones. Because for you guys, it's this. It's fast-paced life of spending and doing nothing human, and bringing your kids along for the ride to teach these behaviors to unconsciously. You don't realize how role modeling with or without words is extremely toxic to your own kids. So yes, so when the truckers, and I can tell by their attitude, they are those guys that don't give a damn about others. When you already, the government, give them permission to get away with breaking the rules of the road and putting others at risk, are you really surprised that they brought guns and they want you to resign and things like that? You were already taught them that it's okay to break the laws. They just want to do it more because there are people primates that suffer from HSD. Anyways, an hour. I'm going to end it. I had fun. I can afford Jell-O right now. Too much sugar in this. I look forward to taking off this horribly uncomfortable clothes, and I'll prepare a part 3 for you guys next week, so you can not show up for your own lives and the reality of what's really happening.